We have a bunch of interesting watch releases this week from IWC, from Bell & Ross, from Mido, from H.Moser, and many more. My name is Oleg, that right there is Mr. Bond, and this is a weekly YouTube show where we talk about the latest watches being released. Let's begin today's episode by talking about the new Mido Oceanstar GMT in a PVD coated case. This new watch from Mido is on one hand very exciting, on the other hand is very frustrating. Let me explain. In 2020 they released this Mido Oceanstar GMT in a 44mm case and it was very popular. However, a 44mm case for a lot of people is simply too large. Since then there were quite a few different releases, including the Oceanstar 39mm. That is the diver version of this watch and it is much more reasonably sized. Now for 2025, we're getting this new PVD coated version. However, it is still released in the 44mm case diameter. Why? Just release it in a 39mm. It would work on people's wrists much better, and the thickness is not too bad. It's only about 13.3mm in case height, so you don't even need to reduce the case height by much to have this watch in a 39mm case. I think it would be a lot more popular. The rest of the watch, other than its diameter, is pretty cool. It's a stainless steel case with a yellow gold PVD coating. It comes with 200 meters of water resistance, and this one is powered by the caliber 80, which is based on an ETA movement. It's a 3 Hz movement that has 80 hours of power reserve, and this one is a proper GMT movement, the Traveler's GMT as opposed to the Desk GMT, which is of course very welcomed, especially for a watch in this price category. There is one more negative that I have about this watch specifically, and is the fact that the bezel still remained a diver style bezel instead of upgrading this to a bidirectional GMT style bezel. I know to a lot of people it's not a big deal, but I see cost savings at every turn. Luckily, a lot of that cost saving was passed down to consumers. This watch is priced at 1,410 euro, which in my opinion is not a bad price, especially for a true GMT from a brand like Mido. Next, let's talk about the new Bell & Ross BR03 Diver Lume Outline. I think Bell & Ross is doing some smart things with their diver lineup. They're known for their aviation style watches with that instrument-like a dial, so it's very difficult to create something in a diver category that would also feature the same design language. I think right now Bell & Ross is really focusing on these super loomed watches. I'm talking about fully loomed cases, fully loomed dials, or in this case, an outline of the lume, which looks kind of sharp. This model comes in a black ceramic case. It's 44mm in diameter by 44mm length. Of course, this is a square case. The watch also has pretty reasonable case height, only 11.2mm. It also features 300 meters of water resistance, and this one is powered by the caliber 302-1, which is essentially a slightly modified Sellita SW300. It beats at 4 Hz and it comes with upgraded 54 hours of power reserve. In terms of the looks of this watch, I personally really like it. I think it stands out, it's unique, but it still has enough of that Bell & Ross design language. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the date window placement. 4:30 o'clock position rarely works on watches. As far as the pricing and availability, this will be a limited edition. It's limited to only 500 pieces, and this watch is priced at 5,500 euro. The new Horage Autark Tourbillon. Horage is a very interesting independent Swiss watch company. They're known for their in-house movements as much as they're known for their watches. Rarely do they put off-the-shelf Sellita or ETA movements into their models. Autark is an existing line of watches from this brand. It features this integrated bracelet design that is very popular in 2025. However, this watch here is very unique because not only does it feature a tourbillon, it also features a micro rotor. By no means am I a watchmaker, but from my understanding at least, having a micro rotor and a tourbillon is a pretty difficult task because micro rotor doesn't generate that much winding power and tourbillon is pretty power hungry. That's why not a lot of companies actually go for this combination. So having it in this watch is super impressive. On top of that, the company is actually taking advantage of having a micro rotor in this model and giving us some pretty great dimensions. So this one is about 39.5mm in case diameter and only 8.8mm in case height, with a 48mm lug-to-lug distance. Under 9mm for an automatic watch with a tourbillon function, that is super impressive. And all of that is thanks to their in-house movement, the caliber KTMR, which beats at 3.5 Hz, and it comes with 72 hours of power reserve. There are a few different color combinations of this watch available. All of them come in a great 5 titanium cases. However, some dials feature a power reserve indicator at the 10 o'clock position. Other dial variations do not. My favorite is this blue dial. I think that looks really good. I like the grainy texture on it, and even the way the tourbillon complication is integrated into the dial really works. Now, the best part about this watch is probably the pricing of it. So this will not be a limited edition. This is part of the standard catalog. And there are two different versions of this watch available. One with a tungsten micro rotor. So that one is priced at about 13,000 Swiss francs. And there's also the one with the platinum micro rotor. That version is of course more expensive at 15,000 Swiss francs. So a premium of 2,000 Swiss francs for the precious metal. The new H.Moser & C Streamliner Alpine Drivers Edition. H.Moser & C are the official sponsor of the Alpine F1 team, and this year for 2025 we got this pair of special watches. One of them is the Drivers Edition, that's the mechanical watch with the skeletonized dial. There's also the Smart Watch, that's the mechanics watch that has some cool functionality. So first let's talk about the mechanical watch, because that's probably the more interesting one out of the two. It comes in a 42.5mm diameter, 14.2mm case height, and it's made out of stainless steel with a black PVD coating. It features 120 meters of water resistance and is powered by the caliber HMC 700, which is a self-winding skeletonized chronograph movement that beats at 3 Hz, and it comes with 72 hours of power reserve. Now, the thing that I don't really get is that this skeletonized version of the watch is supposed to be the driver's edition. It's supposed to be the more legible one. But if you look at the watch, it's kind of difficult to read the time, especially with those sort of V shapes on the dial. They blend in with the set of hands. So this watch, to me at least, would be very difficult to read on the first glance. The other version of the watch is the smartwatch with a couple of different complications. There's the race countdown, pit alerts, GMT, perpetual calendar, and the split seconds chronograph. Now, I personally am not a big fan of luxury smartwatches. I think they're a waste of money. At least here you do get the real watch, and you also get the gimmicky one just as a sort of fun gift. At least that's the way I see this release. Now, in terms of pricing and availability, this will be a limited edition to 200 pieces, and the set costs 60,000 Swiss francs. So a really expensive release, in my opinion, a bit too ambitious, but hey, to each their own. Next, let's talk about the new Hublot Square Bang Tourbillon 4-day power. When I first saw this watch, I instantly thought of the Patek Philippe Cubitus, and I thought that Hublot copied Patek. However, to my surprise, actually, it seems like Patek copied Hublot. I mean, not exactly. We all know that they didn't actually copy Hublot, but this model, the Square Bang, actually came out in 2022. It's just not a very popular model. So this watch comes in a 3D carbon fiber case. It's a 42mm by 42mm square case, and it's only about 13.2mm in case height. Not too bad. However, it only features 30 meters of water resistance. This watch is powered by the Hublot caliber MHU B6023, which is a manual wound skeletonized movement that beats at 3 Hz, and it comes with 96 hours of power reserve. And this one, of course, also has a tourbillon, as the name would suggest. And surprisingly, I actually don't hate this watch. It's not that I love it, but it's not too bad. And if you like Hublot watches, I think you might enjoy this one as well. However, to enjoy it, you have to have some pretty deep pockets. This will not be a limited edition. It's part of the standard collection. And this watch is priced at 105,000 US dollars, or about 110,000 euro. Next, let's talk about the new IWC Big Pilot Watch Tourbillon Le Petit Prince Edition. Le Petit Prince, or the Small Prince, is the sub-collection in IWC's lineup. Usually, this collection focuses on the high complication watches and watches in different case materials. So this watch comes in a platinum case. It's about 43mm in diameter, 14.6mm in case height, and it features 100 meters of water resistance. It is powered by the caliber 82905, which is an in-house tourbillon movement that beats at 4 Hz and it comes with 80 hours of power reserve. This will be a limited edition to 185 pieces, and this watch is priced at 95,200 euro. And that's actually a pretty steep price. I mean, the watch is made out of platinum. However, just last week they released this watch. It's also part of the Petit line of watches. It comes in a blue ceramic case, not in a platinum case. However, it features some gold accents on the crown, on the case back, on the rotor, as well as on the dial. And this watch is also a perpetual calendar. It's a limited edition to 100 pieces and it's priced at around 120,000 euro. So I think it's an interesting play from IWC because essentially they're giving us 2 higher complication watches, one in ceramic case, one in a platinum case. The platinum one is cheaper by about, 25 grand. So a pretty big difference. However, if you're spending that much money on a watch, probably 20 grand is not a huge deal breaker. So what do you go for? Do you go for the Tourbillon or do you go for the perpetual calendar? Out of the 2, I actually prefer the perpetual calendar one, the blue ceramic case one. I think that looks really sharp, although the case is larger. It's about 46 millimeters in diameter, as opposed to this platinum one, 43 mil. Leave a comment, let me know which one out of the 2 would you choose. Actually, if you're in the mood to comment, please leave a comment, let me know out of all the watches covered, which one was your favorite. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future. I really appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end, and we'll see you next time. Bye.